This is 5 Minute Feng Shui, episode number 1. Welcome to 5 Minute Feng Shui. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easy for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help improve your life, share inspiring stories, and I always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that can change your life. Hi, and welcome to the inaugural edition of 5 Minute Feng Shui. I'm Katie Weber, and I'm excited that you're here today because this is my very first podcast, and I'm going to be sharing with you all I can about making your life better with Feng Shui. I've been doing this a long time, almost 18 years in fact, writing the Red Lotus Letter Feng Shui Easy for Wealth. And while I've been doing this on an email version, I thought a podcast might be a great new way to introduce myself to you and also to bring Feng Shui to a different audience. There's a lot of us out there that like to listen, and we're audio learners, just like there are those of us who are visual learners or people who are hands-on. So a podcast, I thought, might be a great way to introduce a new audience in a new way, some Feng Shui tips that I have used for many years and that have worked for so many thousands of my clients and readers and Facebook and social media people. So this is going to be just me and only me talking to you about Feng Shui. I may have guests from time to time, but a lot of time I like to listen to experts that I know, to podcasts where they speak about their experiences and they advise me, and I feel like I have this sort of one-on-one relationship with them. So rather than me having a guest each week and that kind of thing, now I will be having some guests occasionally, but rather than having that type of situation where we have a guest each week, it's just going to be you and me. And I hope that that comes across to you as more personable and more fascinating and interesting, because I like that one-on-one kind of interaction with people. So that's kind of the basis of what's going to be going on here, week in, week out here at 5 Minute Feng Shui. One of the things that I wanted to mention to you too is that each week we'll have an episode about a different subject matter, and it may last around 10 minutes or so just long enough to enjoy on the ride to the grocery store, or while you're waiting for kids to pick it up at the soccer practice, or maybe just listen with a cup of coffee in the morning. I'd love to be a part of your day. And these podcasts are going to be about, like I said, about 10 minutes long or so, and give or take a few. But at the end, I'm going to give you 3 tips at the end of each podcast. And that's what I think is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to recap what we may be talking about, but I'm going to recap it in terms of tips that are actionable and implementable and that you can do right away. And you're also going to get me, just like me. If things happen, if stuff comes up, maybe a phone call comes in or a dog is barking, you're going to hear that. Hey, this is coming to you from my home. I'm a real person and I don't live in a studio. So you're going to get the real thing. So I really like that. And it's one of my favorite aspects about one video producer that I like a lot, named Mark Vaynerchuk. Mark Vaynerchuk? Maybe it's Greg Vaynerchuk. I can't remember. Gary Vaynerchuk. Anyhow, whatever happens, happens. So whatever happens, happens. All right, so let's talk a little bit. I want to kind of give you an idea of what got me going in Feng Shui. How did I get this started? What happened? What's my story? I'm always curious about how did you get into that? When you hear about somebody that's an underwater welder and they dive down, to the bottom of oil rigs and they weld rigs back together and stuff like that. When I hear those stories, I'm like, okay, you got to tell me how that started. So I thought, well, I'll give you a little peek into how I got started with Feng Shui. When I first became interested in feng shui, it was because I needed something to happen. My career was not going anywhere, and my husband and I were newly married, so we had made this gamble on flipping houses long before it was called flipping houses. And what happened was I made my career into sheetrocking, replumbing, painting, you name it. And I mean, I can do that. I can replace a toilet in the time it takes for somebody to complain about replacing a toilet. I mean, really, the whole commode, the whole 9 yards. Not that that's a really great thing, but when it happens, you need to you need to replace your commode. You want a new updated version. I can do it. I'm your girl. And that's what I ended up doing. And we refurbished this beautiful home. And then right after that, my husband was laid off. And it was like the last thing we have. We have one thing left to do in that house remodel. And then we could sit back and enjoy the fruits of our labors in that house. Well, it turned out that, like I said, he was let go from his job, and he was offered a job all the way across the country. Isn't that how it works out, So we had to not only leave our home, that we had just spent 2 years of blood, sweat, tears, and paint in our hair to remodel. And so we needed to sell it. Well, it sat there on the market. It did nothing. And it was months, no offers, no showings, and I was getting desperate. When I was before I met my husband, I had lived on an island, literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And from that island, I had gone and visited some Asian countries like Hong Kong and Singapore, Java, and Bali. And it was on a trip to Bali that I learned about feng shui. And I kept commenting about this house that I was in and how beautiful it was, but it wasn't ostentatious, and how comfortable I felt. And everybody kind of got a kick out of my running commentary about their lovely home and how comfortable I was in it. And they finally said, well, we do feng shui. And this is in the late 1980s. So I was, what? Feng what? And then I was told, well, they actually thought that the feng shui that they applied to their home improved their lives and gave them great wealth. And they did have great wealth, I had to tell you. So fast forward to that house that I'm trying to sell. I started thinking about this feng shui stuff, and I thought, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's something to it. So I did a little digging, did a little research, and looked around the house and said, what can I do that's different to this house? What does it need? And as I looked around, I thought, it's just still. It's like deathly still. So I went out to Walmart that day, and I bought a pendulum clock. And I put it in the absolute center of the house, where it would mimic like a heartbeat and create some movement. I kid you not, the next day, my realtor called. We had 4 showings, and within 3 days, we had 2 offers. I mean, this is crazy town. I was like, you can't, I was stunned and amazed and couldn't believe it myself, but I didn't really care. The house ended up selling, and I was able to move across the country with my husband. So we join up there on the other side of the map, and I'm looking for a job now, and I'm not making great progress. So I decide, okay, I'm going to take a look and see if I can find a job. And I use that feng shui again, and damn if I didn't get an offer. From then on, I was hooked, and I feng shuied us into great careers that paid well and that helped us create the kind of life that we wanted to live. And that's the best part about feng shui, is that you can make small changes in your home and make big changes in your life. And that's the exciting part for me, is that you don't always have to turn yourself into a pretzel. You don't have to go and get another degree. You don't have to go out and get some new certificate, that kind of thing. And it's one of those situations where your home actually reflects your life. And if you can make some changes around your home, you can see that reflection of that change occur in your life. And I think that's pretty darn exciting. So here's some ideas that I want to pass along to you. And these are about numbers. One of the numbers is 5. The 5 is the number of elements that make up feng shui. And those are water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And I believe that taking that number 5, we can apply in 5 minutes some changes to our home that will make big changes in our life. So we're here at, well, right about 10 minutes, and I want to share with you those 3 tips that I promise that can make a big change. So let's talk about those. I believe that prosperity is about moving energy. That when you don't have energy moving, it's because there's something stuck in your life, something stuck in your home. And we want to get that energy moving again and get you unstuck so that way prosperity can flow to you. So let's talk about where that energy might get stuck. And that's your front door. This is the point at which all chi enters your home, whether that's an apartment, a condo, a house on a street. No matter where you live, the front door, and I mean the front door, not the garage door, not the back door, not the side door that everybody comes through, but the actual front door that the architect intended, that typically is what faces the street. Many times people don't ever use that door except for the FedEx man. And sometimes our front doors don't look as good as they could, but we need to get that energy moving again. So I really encourage you to use your front door as often as possible. And I'm going to give you these 3 tips to help you get unstuck. Tip number 1 is sweep off your front porch. A clean, open path to your door invites opportunity and guess what? Money. Yes, we need, in order for us to make more money, we have to have those opportunities for a new job, a promotion, a raise, or something like that. So we need that clear, open path. Start by clearing off the cobwebs, the fallen leaves, straighten it up, make it nice and clean, sweep it off. Make it a habit to keep your front porch and the front door area clean. Even if that's in your apartment, you can do the same thing. Just make sure to keep it clean. Next is turn the light on at the front door. Take a tip from realtors. They will tell you when you're going to have a house showing, it's so important that you turn on all the lights in the house. Why? Because that raises the energy. Think about that. We need to raise energy when we want to improve and unstick our lives and to be able to promote energy that brings us more money and opportunities. So turn that light on at the front door and invite money and chi into your life. Tip number 3, turn the light on inside your foyer. Keep your foyer light and bright all the time so you can welcome money and other opportunities to your life. And if you've got mail there and a pile of shoes and maybe you need a new entryway rug, tidy all that up. Make it look good. Make it look inviting. Make it look auspicious. And that also brings chi to your life. If we can unstick our front doors, we can make more money. And one of the things that it's a good example is, imagine if your mouth were taped shut. You'd starve to death and die, right? If your front door is never open and it's always dirty and grimy and it's never bright and lit, then how is your house going to get energy? Bring energy into your house straight through the front door. I like to call it the cash register of your house is the front door. So let's make some ka-ching. Hey, this was fun today. I hope you had a great time being with me on this inaugural edition of 5 Minute Feng Shui. See you soon. Make it a fantastic day. Hey, thanks for listening today to 5 Minute Feng Shui. Be sure to join me on Facebook at facebook.com/Feng Shui Katie. And if you're really ready to move ahead quickly, head over to Red Lotus Letter and sign up for my free 4-week e-course, 28 Days to Prosperity. You'll get daily lessons and tips on how to get unstuck and create financial flow in your life. Make it a fantastic day.